when we kiss it, fever with thy flaming youth. Fever, I'm a fire. Fever, yea, I burn forsooth. Captain Smith and Pocahontas had a very mad affair. When her daddy tried to kill him, she said, Daddy, oh, don't you dare get
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And on behalf of Rana's family, I would like to thank you all for being here today. I know that it is very appreciated that we can spend this time together. And what I wanted to say is I am in awe of the fact that as we gather here to celebrate Rana's life, there are so many people from different backgrounds and faiths and beliefs, and that we not only have people celebrating here, but we have people celebrating across the country. We have people celebrating and joining this moment across the world. And that speaks volumes about the type of man that Rana was. It speaks to the inspiration that he was to people. And I want to say to you all that it speaks to the legacy that he leaves behind, that he was able to change and impact so many lives, that you carry that legacy with him, or with you. So again, we are grateful and thankful for you all to be here today. And really what we hope today is a chance for us to be together, to mourn, to grieve, but to also celebrate the man that he was and the impact that he's left on our lives and in the world today. So we are going to hear from many people today through video, and I know some of you are going to share who knew Rana much better than I did. I never had the opportunity to meet him, but there are many of you who have, and you're going to be able to share a lot of wonderful stories and give us, those of us who haven't, some really beautiful insight into the man and why we have so many of you all here today. But before we do get to that, I would love to just take a few moments to reflect from a book in the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes. And it's a book that speaks to what does it mean to live in this world. It's a very real book in the sense that the writer looks at life's problems, looks at life's joys, looks at what does it mean to be alive in this world and how do you navigate it? Because when we think about life in these moments, there are pains, there are sadness, there are joys, there are ups and downs, and really what does it mean to live in that way, to be able to exist in that end? Because we find ourselves in that world, whether we like it or not. And so while I've never met Rana, and I won't pretend to know his deepest values and beliefs, what I can say is from the stories that I've heard from his family and the time that I have spent with his family and those that loved him, I believe that much of what we read today and what we'll see in this passage, it was reflected through Rana's life because Rana had a beautiful life. So the passage that I've chosen today is, it's from the book of Ecclesiastes, as I said, and it's the third chapter, verses 9 through 13. And I'd love to read all of them to you and then take just a few moments to point out a few things. And it says this, the writer says, "What gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and see the good in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. I would just maybe want to share three thoughts, three things that I think come from this. And the first is that when we read that first passage, what gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given the children of man to be busy with. What we are reminded of is that God has a greater plan, but we don't often see it. That there is a larger thing going on. And you see the writer asks, what gain? And how many of us have asked at points, what is the point? What is the greater plan? What is happening right now? And we all have to come to the point where we agree that we don't know it all, that there is mystery in this life, that there is uncertainty in this life. And what I've found, and I think what the writer says, is that we can respond to mystery and uncertainty in two very different ways. One is a way of fear, and another is a way of trust and engagement. When we respond with fear, we end up withdrawing from this world. We end up becoming defensive. We end up keeping people in the world at arm's distance. We see more bad in the world than we see good. That's when you respond with fear. But when you realize that you don't know everything, that there's a larger plan at work here, you can also respond with trust. And when we allow space for not knowing, but still trusting that there is this grand plan unfolding, we step into something far more beautiful. When we respond with engagement and trust, what we do is we believe that God has a place for us to partner with him in this plan, that the God of the universe says you are a part of all that's going on, and that I want you to engage with it. Don't sit back, but be a part of it and to help it unfold in the world around us. We see that God has given man a task, and that's the task of bringing goodness and beauty to this world around us. So God's got a plan. There's a greater plan at work. And then when we read on, the writer says, he has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning. And even though he says, though eternity is in our hearts, we still cannot fully see the entire picture. Even in moments where we can recognize that there is a greater plan, we can still struggle with the moments in it that don't make sense. Isn't that true? And we can acknowledge there's something bigger than us, but at the same time, hurts and pains come along, and then why did this happen? We're confronted with our moments of pain and moments where this seems to be no good answer to the moments we find ourselves in. And there's no really good answer to that question of why. Why this? Why that? And what we see here as the writer, as he talks about everything being made beautiful in its time and the tasks and eternity, is we see that we get to recognize that these moments exist, but that these moments don't have to wreck and ruin us. We can live in these moments and we can grieve and we can hurt, but they don't have to ruin us. Because there is always beauty someplace. He has made everything beautiful in his time. God says there is always beauty someplace. And he says eternity is in your hearts. And eternity is in our hearts when we can rest in the knowledge that even in the most difficult moments, this too shall pass. That we understand that there is something more to come. And these are the things of God where we can find peace, because there is peace amidst the things that don't make sense. As much as they bring pain and as much as confusion as they bring, there is also peace. And the beauty and eternity of God, those are the things that we can find peace in, even when what is going on around us doesn't make sense. These are the things where we can start to see God and see the way that he loves his creation. And so there's a greater plan at work that we don't always see. And there is peace amidst the things that don't always make sense. And then we move on to this final part here, this last little bit, where he says, I perceive that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure to see the good in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. And I love that he ends like this, because what he is essentially laying out for us is that when we see the joy and the beauty and the goodness of God and from God, we see that there is larger purpose to this life. When we can see the goodness in this world, there is a moment where we can say, I can bring a part of that to this world. to fall in love with the goodness in God and all the ways that it is reflected around us is to see that there is something larger than ourselves out there. You know, this gift from God, it's this gift that we get to be a part of this larger goodness, this larger plan that's unfolding of what God desires for this world. And I will say this as somebody who reads from Scripture, as a pastor up here, that God's desire is beauty and goodness in this world. He desires people to partner with him to bring hope and joy to one another rather than pain and despair. That is God's desire, and that's what he invites us into. And the thing required of us for this, it's not difficult. It's simply to see. The writer says, I see that there is nothing better than for them to be joyful. And so when we see the blessings, we find joy and we find gratitude. And when we can live in joy and gratitude, we can start to change the way this world works. We can start to change the way that this world engages with one another. And we can make this place a world that reflects beauty and goodness. And the more and more we do this, not only will we step into our larger purpose and our role, but we will step and pull people into that larger purpose and role as well. And the reason I went through this and shared that is because as I got to sit with the family and kind of hear the stories, I realized that Rana, he saw beauty and goodness in this world. As I heard his love for the creation around us, and I heard of just all the journeys that he took and his appreciation of what had been put in front of him, it struck me that this was a man who understood beauty and blessing. This was a man who understood gratitude and joy in his own ways. And that is a man who again, regardless of what we all believe, where we all come from in our backgrounds, that is somebody who stands in a world and makes it better and leaves this world in a good spot. And so if I could leave you with anything today, it would be the encouragement to trust in the goodness and the beauty of the larger plan that is unfolding around us. It would be to allow the things that don't always make sense and allow them not to make sense, but to hold on to the peace that comes and is available in the midst of all that. And it would be to see the joy and the gratitude and see that all of this connects us to this larger purpose and calling in our lives that helps bring hope and peace and beauty and joy to the world around us. Because if we can do that, we have lived a good life. We have lived a life that reflects what God hopes and desires for this world. And so finally, as we all step into this, as we all step into that journey and step into these next few moments, my hope and prayer is that God bless and be with all of us. Amen. Now we have as I said, we have a lot of people who are going to share a lot of things. And so we'll start. We have some video messages here that will be shared from, as I understand it, around the world. So let's go ahead and let some others speak about it.
Hello, my name is Angel, and to follow what Pastor Seth said, I am also in awe of just how much Mr. Dutta, it feels weird to call him Rana, just how much he was loved and how much goodness he left around the world. Because his family was spread out wide, they couldn't be here today, so I was invited to read a few words from his family. The first comes from his niece, Romina Chatterjee. She is in the Netherlands, and she wanted to share this memory. I remember that whenever you were visiting us in India, Mamu, and Mamu is a term in endearment for a maternal uncle. So it's the fun uncle, as you will. Mamu would be in his PJs, matching top and bottoms, blue striped, wishing us good morning and asking questions about our studies and how we were doing. He was always curious to know about us, always positive and smiling. The last time he visited us in Delhi, he told my parents about the importance of exercise and that they didn't need to go to a gym. There wasn't a gym near them, but Mr. Dutta didn't consider that an excuse. He used to go up and down a flight of stairs over lunch every day, and that's how he remained so fit, even though he didn't have time to do more. I can only picture him smiling and giving good advice and being interested in other people. My mom was very fond of him and talked about him a lot while she was still around. The second message is from his little sister, Dahlia Shah, who is in Delhi. She wanted to share, I was only 5 when my older brother, Rana Dutta, left home in India to pursue his studies, his career, and his dreams in far-off shores. However, I was lucky to have been in regular contact with him, even until a few weeks before his final departure to meet his maker. Soft spoken words and a gentle soul. I will always cherish my memories of this kind and good man who is well remembered in his community and beyond. May his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti. And now I wanted to show a special tribute that his family has put together. It's a collection of messages, memories, and love sent from family and friends from around the world, and how this is a testament to how deeply he was cherished. So if we can take a moment to watch and remember together. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's difficult to find the right words in a moment like this. We are gathered to remember and celebrate someone who touched our lives with his calm strength, quiet wisdom, and that unforgettable sense of humor. Rana Uncle was a man of remarkable composure, never rattled, always thoughtful. But beneath that calm exterior was someone who knew how to light up a room, often with just the right joke or a playful comment that would leave us all laughing. He had a deep love for sports, tennis, football, cricket, you name it. He followed it with passion. And if you were lucky enough to play with him, you knew he wasn't just competitive. He was also generous with his guidance. I remember during our visit to the US how he and Pishi were the live wires of our time together, encouraging us to play tennis, cheering us on, and in my case, even giving me tips on how to beat Pishi. I'm not sure I ever did, but his coaching was the highlight. He was a loving husband and a doting father to Piali and Janali, a source of quiet strength and endless love. I'll always remember him letting his grandchild Shine style his hair in the most hilarious ways, and the joy he took in it, laughing along with us. That was the kind of person he was, patient, warm, and full of heart. While we may no longer see him, his presence is with us in the lessons he taught us, the laughter he gave us, and the love he left behind.
Thank you, Rana Pisho, for the memories. We carry you with us always.
নমস্কার, আপনাদের সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ যারা কিনা আজকে এসেছেন। আজকে এই অনুষ্ঠানে রানাদার আত্মার সদ্গতি কামনা করি সবাই মিলে আমরা, এটাই আমার আকাঙ্ক্ষা। রানাদা আমাকে ছোট বৌদি বলে ডাকতেন। রানাদা আমাদের খুব পরিবারে খুব আপনজন, ভীষণ ভালো মানুষ ছিলেন, এত বড় মনের মানুষ ছিলেন, সদা হাস্যময় ছিলেন। এমন একজন লোককে আমরা আমাদের পরিবার থেকে হারিয়েছি। আমাদের দুঃখ রাখার সত্যি কোনো জায়গা নেই, তবু আমরা সবাই মিলে কামনা করি ওনার আত্মার সদ্গতি হোক, উনি যথাস্থানে শান্তিতে থাকুক, যেখানে আছেন ভালো থাকুক। নমস্কার।
Namaste from India. Everyone who are there supporting my family, I am really so grateful to you all. Today we are here to talk about Pishamashai. Yes, that is what we used to call him. My Boro Pishimuni's husband, Pishamashai. As I know him from my childhood, only one thing that has ached in my brain is he was such a good human being, wise, honest, always smiling, a pleasant nature, And as you all know, he used to love nature, mountain so much. Maybe that's why he upside has decided to keep his soul there itself. He must be in so much peace at present. And today we are here to celebrate his life. So please smile. He always wants that from us. So we all are happy for this beautiful life that he has spent 86 years. And my Pishimuni, I will always tell you, you are such a kind and strong woman. So I know that you will overcome this also. His memories will always be with us. He is such a good human being. We all are so proud of our Pishamashai. Thank you so much everyone for supporting my family there. Thank you from India. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betty Fordham. My son married into the Dutta family, and that's how I got to know Rana. Through the years, we developed a wonderful relationship. Rana was an amazing man. He was a gentle giant, and he loved life. And I would say that he lived it to the fullest, always wanted to be included in everything, and he will be deeply missed by us all.
Hello everybody. On behalf of my wife Nandini, our son Neil, and myself, let me first express our deep condolences for losing Rana. Piali requested me to say a few words about Rana now. We know the family over the last 3 decades, and our kids grew up together. And most importantly, I played tennis with Rana over 10 to 15 years. Through this game, I came to know him as a true gentleman, kind-hearted, and always professional. Rana landed in England at a very early age, in his late teens, worked at various jobs in England, Canada, and in USA. All along, he kept up with his higher studies, collected technical degrees, and worked in Lockheed Martin here as an executive engineer in the town of Schenectady. His passion, however, was always in sports, hiking, and volunteer activities. And seldom you'll hear him talking about his house, jobs, or cars. I fondly remember we got to know his sister and his family in Beijing in 1990. We have visited Sampa's family in Calcutta a number of times. And through all these interactions in Beijing and Calcutta, we got to know the family, both Rana and Sampa's, pretty well. And we cherish those memories. Rana and Sampa has been our trusted friend in Albany. We miss their absence quite dearly. Let Rana rest in peace in the eternity, and the family draw strength from God in this difficult moment. Thank you very much.
Hari Om, Namaste, good morning. I'm Krishna from Schenectady, New York. We have gathered here to honor and celebrate Rana Dutta's life. He was my neighbor, friend, and part of our extended family. He was kind, gentle, and bright. Listening to his story, growing up in India, he was a rebel in the family. He loved the nature. He fell in love with Colorado. He was adventurous and liked to hike with his family. He's an avid sports person, watched tennis and his favorite Liverpool team from the Premier League in United Kingdom. In his advancing years, while he was driving, he disliked the backseat drivers. We had interesting discussions on medical issues, including what was removed or what was replaced. He was also keen on learning about complementary medicines. He had a unique sense of humor. At times, he used to translate some Bengali sayings into English. Good friends are hard to find and difficult to forget. We'll miss you, Rana. Sampa, myself, Padma, myself will be available for Sampa anytime. Thank you.
Hi Piali, hi Shampamashi. I just wanted to say that I'm really sorry I couldn't be there today celebrating Rana Uncle's life. We will all miss him so much. He was always such a wonderful friend to my parents and such a strong member of our Bengali community back in New York. I will always have fond memories of, obviously, Piali, you being like a sister to me. I would always come over to your house and your dad would be there, and he was just always so nice, so calm, unlike my father. But yes, as my mom says, he was always the perfect gentleman. And I loved his passion for tennis and watching tennis, and I love doing that as well. And oftentimes when I'm watching tennis, I do think of him, and only good memories. He'll be missed so much. He was a wonderful person, and I love you, Piali and Shampamashi. I miss you, and I wish I could be there, but I'm so happy you are celebrating his life today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
This is Subi Banerjee, a friend and an admirer of the Dutta family. Back in the days in upstate New York, we lived in the same neighborhood, spent a lot of time getting to know each other, and in course of time, we became very, very close. A lot of walks, a lot of discussion, a lot of meals, sharing it, and both the families were very, very extremely close. Those are the happy times. Now, that being said, that was back in the 1990s. Even though Rana and I were good friends, we took every opportunity to sit down and have a very lively chat, which I enjoyed. But that's pretty much it. It was nothing more or nothing less than that. Then fast forward 2022, post-COVID period, we also got inspired and encouraged by Dutta family, and we bought a home in Gold Canyon, Arizona. Now, they were already there, so Rana and Shampa and we really grew extremely close after having moved to Arizona, because that gave us the opportunity. Our lifestyle was the same. The kids have grown up by the time, and so on and so forth. So I got to know Rana in the light that I never had the opportunity to know him that well back in New York. That being said, I would say Rana is not a very complex man. Rather, he was an extremely kind, generous, and happy-go-lucky man that I know of. But at the same time, if you look at his character, it has layers that each of which needs to be kind of looked at, and that reveals a different person when you look at him. I'll give you an example, because whenever you talk to Rana, in a heartbeat, he gets excited like a little kid. When you talk about the mountain, you talk about Colorado, or you talk about the desert, you talk about the desert blooms, the cacti, and the swallows, and all that kind of stuff, flora and fauna, the birds, and everything else. And that being said, I still remember August 8th, not August, excuse me, that was April 8th. So it was barely about a month ago, I had a chance to take a hike with him early morning on April 8th in Sabino Canyon. And like I said, actually, he was like a little kid, when he was looking around, and he said, Subi, look around, and this is the nature. Where can you be? This is the best place in the whole world. And I kind of agreed with him. Now, you have to think about one thing, that April 8th, just the other day, at that time, we didn't have any idea that the God had a different plan for Rana Dutta. And lo and behold, he's gone just the other day. So when I think about that day, I say, I have something to say here, that Rana, if God is very happy to have you up there, the world was a much, much better place with you being right here. So rest in peace, my friend. Your absence is going to be missed sorely by all of us, including your family, your daughters, and everybody else. God bless.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Fordham. I'm Piali's husband and Baba's son-in-law. And first and foremost, I'm really grateful for all of you that are there right now, present, being able to comfort Piali and to comfort Ma in my stead. So thank you guys so much. Baba was a special man, as I'm sure you've heard time and time and time again. And there's not much I'm going to share new. We know he loved tennis and he was passionate about hiking, and we know how much he loved the outdoors and nature and sweets. And I love, everybody that had a chance, when Baba spoke, people listened. He would really not engage in foolish conversations. So anytime you really got to talk to him, there was an amazing, good, solid, fun conversation that was always uplifting and deep. And he really was a joy to be around. What I'm probably going to miss the most about Baba is watching his face light up when you talked about, it being time for dessert after dinner, or looking at sweets at a place. I have never seen him young, but I could imagine what his face looked like when he was 2 and 3 years old, and his parents holding a lollipop or something up. Just ear to ear grin and smile, and he really is and was such a blessing to be a part of his family, and to see his support for Ma and Piali. There was nothing that he would not do for his family at any point in time. He was always willing to sacrifice and do whatever he could to make everybody else's dreams come true. So, I'm beyond grateful again for you all and for the time that I've spent with Baba, and really just beyond grateful for everybody. And with you all, I'm mourning this day and missing him and Piali and Ma, and she's just been so strong, both of those ladies that are there. So love on them all deeply for me, and thank you guys so much. I really appreciate every one of you, your love and your support.
Rana Dutta had the courage to go from India to America, a minority, with determination that sculpted a pillar of strength. 40-some years ago, I came to know him. We worked together on computerizing broadcast stations, and I got to know his family, Shampa, and then 4-year-old Piali and her younger sister Janali. As both families aligned, both with a 4 and 2-year-old, we did things together. Kids playing, adults talking, cooking, and serving meals. Shampa taught Jennifer to cook some wonderful Indian dishes, the first I had tasted. They were giving people, striving to be professionals in a second language. I discovered Rana had similar interest. Rana too loved the creation, mountains, starlight, and rocks. He loved to be in its solitude and sought to understand what silence has to say. its humbling stories of the vastness of time and the miracle that is life. We went for hikes, the Garden of the Gods, Cheyenne Canyon. We talked about space, stars, and galaxies. He was curious and open-minded. In our talks, I found Rana's background intriguing. Colonial India, Hinduism, Christian missionaries that could be so pushy, they pushed many away. An arranged marriage. And I admired that he rose through its educational system to become an asset as a software engineer in America. Those were the early days in computing. PDP-8s, CDC 6400, System 38s, and some very primitive devices that hinted of the future, PCs. Programming was done by pencil and paper before a scheduled time on the machine in a computer room, elevated floors, temperature controlled. In this environment, Rana's spirit stood out, calm, capable, compatible, and wanting to make a difference, which had me reflecting on the Bible where Jesus warned that many will say they come in my name, but know me not, as I came to know a spirit who knew him without knowing his name. Rana was a gift of the God of love, a soft-spoken man with the hard-working attitude seen in many immigrants that built America, the background of us all of our families, each intent on building a future for the next generation, a better future. He believed in work, education, and a faith that had him treating those he met in the fashion of the man who washed feet. He wanted to pass on what he had learned. He cared and cared for others. He represents the best that is America, a man of faith that was still learning on the day of his death. And he will be missed as he meets the maker of all after a life of being willing to change countries, beliefs, while grounded in strong and good principles, curiosity, and the spirit aligned with the Sermon on the Mount.
My name is Emily, and I'm a friend of Piali's, a lucky friend of Piali's. I'm going to read a poem written for Rana by the Utsav Bengali community in Albany, New York. We, the Utsav Bengali community, mourn the loss of Rana Dutta, a soul so gentle, so deeply loved. He was a man of calm grace, with a quiet strength and a smiling face. Warmth in his eyes, peace in his tone, a presence that made hearts feel at home. He loved the hills, the open skies, the call of trails where silence lies. Nature was his quiet friend, and in her arms he met his end. With racket in hand, his soul would soar, the court his quiet joy forevermore. Though our hearts ache with this loss so deep, his spirit is one we'll always keep. In rustling leaves and morning light, we'll feel his soul take gentle flight. May his journey onward be serene, in lands unseen, in skies pristine. We stand together, grieving and strong, honoring a life that still lives on. Rana Datta's passing has left a profound void in all our hearts. As a community, we mourn together, holding his memory close and sending strength to his grieving family. In this time of sorrow, we stand united in support, reflection, and prayer. Thank you all so much for coming.
It's so beautiful to see all the green. My dad loved green. I want to thank Casas Church for all that you did for us in such a short time. Everyone that came together, endless people. It'll take forever to name all of you. Thank you, Emily, for the slideshow presentation that we poured hours and hours into. Hundreds of pictures that you'll see soon. And Joy, just for being my rock, my best friend. Okay, I'll try to get through this, and if I can't, Joy's going to read it. All right. My daddy spent his last moments surrounded by the most breathtaking beauty of the Sonoran Desert, a destination he longed to be in ever since he was a boy 75 years ago. He was first drawn to the beauty of the American Southwest when he was a child and would watch John Wayne Western movies from India with 3 of his school friends. He made a pact that they would all one day make it to America, the land of opportunity. My dad was the only one who actually succeeded in fulfilling this pact. He was so amazing and so strong. He went on to obtain 3 bachelor's degrees from England, Canada, and the United States. He became a U.S. citizen and worked hard as an engineer for over 50 years in Michigan, Colorado, Utah, and then finally settled down in upstate New York. Can I take this off, actually? Perfect. Okay, easier. Okay, where my sister and I grew up. I vividly remember how he faithfully went to work in the morning, lunch in hand, and would come back late in the afternoon every single day. He hardly ever missed a day of work. He worked very hard his entire life until he retired in 2007 and still worked part-time for the same company for many years after that. My daddy truly lived the American dream in every sense of the word. Looking for adventure in the American West, he bought a winter home in Tucson, Arizona in 2010, where my parents enjoyed hiking and experiencing the great outdoors to the fullest. He would gaze at the mountains from his gorgeous home in the Catalina foothills, where his mind and his heart became filled with even more dreams. My beautiful parents traveled the world together. Tucson ultimately inspired my husband and I to move here during our first year of marriage in 2013. We spent 11 years taking in and experiencing the beauty of Tucson. Things changed when I realized that my dad had been dreaming about having a summer home in the beautiful state of Colorado, where he used to live in the 1980s. We all used to live there in the 1980s. So Kenny and I decided to move to Colorado Springs about a year ago to help pave the way for his last dream to come true. When we were able to buy a house in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it seemed as though God was making a way to fulfill my dad's final wish. My parents sold their New York house last fall and were planning to spend their summers with us. So amazing. The view of the mountains from the downstairs windows of our home where we would have stayed was breathtaking. My daddy died 1 month before he planned to cut. Sorry. He died 1 month before he planned to come to Colorado for his first summer. He never did make it to see his last dream fulfilled. However, God works in mysterious ways, and I have reason to believe that what he's experiencing now in eternity is far greater than any dream that he could have ever imagined here on earth. Sorry. Okay. Many do not know this key part of the extraordinary life that my father lived. He was born in Rangoon, Burma, not India. This was when Burma was an Indian colony ruled by the British in the late 1930s and early 1940s. It has been since renamed and is now known as Yangar, Myanmar. His family fled the Japanese bombs in World War II when he was an infant. History reveals that Japan bombed Burma in early 1941. My dad told me that his servants wrapped him in swaddling clothes when his family ran from the bombs. For this reason, I actually believe that he was 84 when he died and not 86. And I think he was born in July of 1940 instead of 1938, just from history. He never did have an official birth certificate. His family then settled in Bangladesh, but once again had to flee Muslim persecution against the Hindus. Concerned Muslims who loved his family gave them some of their clothes to disguise them when they fled, so they would not be killed when they ran away as Hindus. They thankfully were able to escape Bangladesh safely. And his family finally settled in Calcutta, India, where he grew up relatively peacefully and free from wars. This all reveals that my extraordinary father was a refugee twice. He may have unknowingly been 2 years ahead of the rest of his class when he went to school. He overcame all these trials, as well as countless other odds, to become the man that he was, that everybody knew and loved so deeply. My dad was healthy physically. We all thought he would have many more years. We'd have many more years with him. His mom lived to be 100, and so we all thought he would follow in her footsteps. Many have asked how we're doing. I don't know if I have the right words, but I will say that we've begun to discover peace in such an unimaginable trial. As you can see, my dad was truly an extraordinary human being, and there's just no one like him. But in the midst of so many questions, there's been a beautiful unveiling of a sacred story that God is telling. This is a tragedy that so many find unspeakable, myself and my family included. I do not believe that his story is over. While it may seem that the pages of my daddy's book may have ended, the colors within these pages are being revealed in the midst of these events. Thousands of people got to know my dad because he was missing. He had missing person flyers. He was on TV. He had news people talking to me, interviewing people. I mean, my dad was a quiet man. It's like he just had to make an exit. And honestly, I think he would have loved it. Knowing my dad, he loved adventure. And I just can imagine us talking and being like, Daddy, do you see what you did? You can see him smiling. So my dad grabbed the hearts of countless humans who never had a chance to meet him, yet still loved and cared for him so much. And now so many people know what an extraordinary man my father was. This never would have happened if these circumstances didn't happen the way that they did. God's stories always have purpose. His ways are never random or by happenstance. We're discovering key details each day, which ultimately show us that in the midst of the trauma, his ways are higher than ours, and his sovereignty still stands when nothing makes sense. I believe with all my heart that God will bring beauty from these ashes, and that my daddy's story will have a great impact on many one day. It already has. Lastly, we went to the site that he was found a couple weeks ago, and we laid roses where his body was. He was found in a place that was overwhelmingly beautiful and peaceful. There was incredible mountains surrounding us, a beautiful sunset. He probably saw a beautiful sunset his last night here on earth. The saguaros were blooming all around us, all around us. I think they bloomed before all the other ones did, because I think they're blooming now, but the ones around my dad were blooming 2 weeks ago. My mom is at peace with how we went, even though this is so unimaginably hard, because it was quick and painless and alone. It's what he always wanted, really. It's what he always wanted, to be in nature, to live in nature, to die in nature, the true cowboy way. He always was wild at heart. Thank you all so much for coming and for honoring his memory.
7th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found the key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road, hanging by a song. But the string's already broken, and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast, and it don't last for long. It's the Colorado Rocky Mountain High. I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. The shadow from the starlight is softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. He climbed Cathedral Mountains, he saw silver clouds below. He saw everything as far as you can see. And they say that he got crazy once, and he tried to touch the sun, and he lost a friend but kept the memory. Now he walks in quiet solitude, the forests and the streams, seeking grace in every step he takes. His side is turned inside himself to try and understand the serenity of a clear blue mountain lake. And the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High. Now his life is full of wonder, but his heart still knows some fear of a simple thing he cannot comprehend. While they try to tear the mountains down to bring in a couple more people, more scars upon the land. In the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. I know he'd be a poorer man if he never saw an eagle fly. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado Rocky Mountain High. I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Friends around the campfire and everybody's high. Rocky Mountain High, 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 Rocky Mountain
My parents are on a horse. Daddy, do the rain. Daddy, you have to do the rain the other way. So pretty. There's my mom. There's my dad. Beautiful tread. You're talking to the horse. My parents have the horses that like to eat. Yeah, Daddy, you really should have kept it in the stirrups. Ah! Can you put your feet...
Master, give me a drink all your life.
It's a marshmallow world in the winter.
Aww. That's so sweet.
It's time.
What is happening right now? What is happening? Aww. This is something. That's what happens when you've been married for 50 years. Yeah. There you go. What is
Took your mom on my shoulder and gave me a neck ache. So,
Say hi. Smile.
hello.
Okay. Daddy, you're amazing. You went up all these stairs. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God.
You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again. Come, let me love you. Let me give my life to you.
Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you. And let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again.
Thank you, guys. Well, we are about to end here, and we're going to get to spend some more time together in a different building, in a different area. But before we do that, I wanted to say to anybody who is watching online and you happen to be sharing some of your videos, I wanted you to know what it meant to the family. I got to sit over here and watch these ladies as they watched, and not only were there tears, but there were a lot of smiles. And so you were able to give a great gift to Rana's family today. I will be praying for us here in just a moment, but we'd love to invite you. We have a room right over there across the way called the Palo Verde Room, and there will be a reception over there. There will be food and a chance for you all to, if you have stories yourselves to share them with Rana's family and perhaps even us. So let me pray, and then if you allow us to go over and follow us over and share a meal together. So, dear God, we thank you for Rana. We thank you for clearly the blessing and the mark he has made on this world. We thank you that this world is better because of him, and that the lives in this room are better because of him. We thank you for the peace and grace and love that you pour out on us, even in the hardest moments. We ask that you be present with us, that you constantly remind us of that presence and allow us to be a people who gather together, mourn together, support each other, and celebrate the life of Rana together. In your name, amen. Again, thank you so much. And if you'd like to follow us, or if you know where the room is, we can go over there and spend some more time together.